Today we're looking at Love for Sale. Here's another Cole Porter tune where the changes are different. The ones that we normally play as jazz musicians are not necessarily the changes that were in the original musical versions. And as I've said many times before in these series, you don't have to know the original changes, but you should at least be aware of that, because there might be some differences if you listen to different recordings of this tune. So, but I'll give you the changes from this book, the Cole Porter Jamie Aebersold book, which is really good if you want to get a good overview over Cole Porter's most famous tunes. And it's better to practice with these backing tracks as opposed to generic iReal Pro. These other changes in here are probably what you'll see if you play this on a jam or a gig, most likely with slight variations. And it also is one of those tunes when it's very common to switch between Latin and swing between the different sections. So the backing track is going to do that. So as always, if you want all the Cole Porter videos, you can join us on Patreon and you get access to all the Patreon exclusive Cole Porter videos. I release these ones on YouTube bi-weekly. And we'll play the melody together, and then I'll play solo, and then you'll play solo, and then I think we'll play the melody again, and then there's a little outro. As always, I recommend using headphones because you hear the bass. And yeah, let's play the tune, shall we?
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Your solo. This melody is not that hard. Let's see if we can remember it from memory. So it's a nice little 1, 6, 2, 5 in minor ending there. So this tune is problematic in a way because it's like, what key is it in? It says B flat major here, but the I real pro says it's in B flat minor. So here's the problem. That's the 4 chord. And the 1 chord is in minor. That's a very unusual to have the 4 chord in major, so it's better to look at it like, I think the tune is in B flat major. It's just that they make the tonic minor sometimes. And in the real version of the tune, it's not always B flat minor. I think it's only the first time or something. We'll look at it in a second. Maybe there too, and then it's major for the rest of the tune, I think. So some jazz musicians do that too, even though these are more common changes in jazz. For example, Oscar Peterson's very famous recording of this, he has a whole tribute album to Cole Porter. He kind of plays like blues. Which enables him to play all his bluesy stuff, right? Because if you think about it, these chords, it's not the best to solo over. It's a little bit unusual. It's kind of difficult to be, you feel kind of trapped in those. You could treat it differently. You could think E flat major 7 to D flat major 7, arpeggios. But then you're a little bit trapped in that thing. So yeah, I think it's good to be aware of that. There are other options for that chord. Let's look at the musical version, shall we? So the lyrics are kind of weird. I guess you have to understand the context. It's a musical, I think, called The New Yorkers. So there's a verse that sounds like this. So this is a pretty famous verse. This is another thing that comes up in these Cole Porter videos, that a lot of these tunes and many other jazz standards have verses that we normally don't play, and you don't have to know all of them. But sometimes it's nice to know that there is a verse. And I'm pretty sure Ella Fitzgerald on her famous Cole Porter tribute album, which is probably the most famous Cole Porter recording of Cole Porter tunes, is the one by Ella Fitzgerald, or arguably Frank Sinatra, Charlie Parker, but definitely one of the most famous ones. She does a lot of these verses. I'm pretty sure she does this one. Then says the refrain, right? These are the chords: E flat major to E flat 6. And then still E flat major instead of minor that we just played, and E flat minor, and then Og. Let's listen to that again. Those are triads. And then keep the major tonality. Then see the next section. Oh yeah, then it's major. Who will buy? So that's good to be aware of, that you could play with somebody, you know, if you just call this tune on gig and they might think, oh, it's going to be major there. And if you were playing minor, you see, that's not going to work. So, but again, I think most people play those changes that we just did in the Aebersold or similar. Here I have a little recording of somebody and I changed the key. This is what it sounds like, the verse and everything. When the only sound in the empty street is the heavy tread of the heavy feet that belong to a lonesome car. Open shut. So long has been gazing down on the wayward ways of this wayward town, that her smile becomes a smirk. I go to and here, major, right? So it's just good to be aware of these things. Obviously, you can't know every standard and every original version of every tune, but just be aware of that. Some tunes, there are these conflicting changes, so that it's good to kind of make sure that you're, maybe if you play this on the gig, you want to make sure that everybody's playing the same changes. There's a really good version of this tune by Dutch guitarist Jesse van Ruler, who I can strongly recommend if you haven't listened to Jesse van Ruler. And he plays this tune in 7. So let's just, for fun, I made a little iReal Pro backing track here in 7. Let's just do it. So this is a bass line 7. Yeah, it's kind of fun to play in 7. So you know how you can change in iReal Pro, you can go in and under Edit and then change the time signature. It doesn't always work with all the different kind of, the different, what is it called, like the different swing settings or bossa nova. And sometimes it doesn't work if there's more than 2 chords in the same bar, or if there are 2 chords in the same bar, you have to kind of adjust a little bit. But with a little bit of tweaking, it can work. So you can practice standards in odd time signatures, which is really good for many reasons. And I also should mention this little thing here. That's half step chromatic, the F sharp B7, F sharp, F minor B flat. It's a very cool thing. You see that in a lot of Cole Porter tunes, actually. So that was Love for Sale. Hope you liked that tune, and I shall see you next time.